Hello and very good afternoon all the viewers. You all are watching on NCRT official YouTube channel, and apart from this YouTube channel, you are connected with us on eVidya channel, channel number 7, and you are watching us on PMeVIDYA channel number 7. So these are the various mediums where you can connect directly to us, and even you can call us directly on our phone number also, which is 8800440559. Dear viewers and learners, I am Sushma Sharma and you are connected for the chapter number 5, and this is for class number 7, and we are going to discuss about lines and angles part 1. And to discuss about this chapter, this topic, we have already connected online to our expert, and she is Miss Radhika. Radhika ma'am, very good afternoon and welcome to you. Namaskar ma'am. Radhika ma'am, she has connected with us from Bengaluru, and she is TGT, National Public School, Whitefield, Bengaluru. And Radhika ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Very welcome to you. And today we are going to discuss about lines and angles. So, ma'am, can you define it earlier before we go to the chapter? Can you define separately what are the lines and what are the angles?
Excellent. Ma'am, you asked the right question, which I'm prepared with. Because first, before starting this chapter, we should have a recap of what are lines and what are angles. Obviously. Then only I'll go with the present concept. Okay. Right, so, shall I start?
Yes,
with that what are lines and what are angles?
Right,
okay, great. Okay, children, we are already familiar with lines and angles. And it is something which you see everywhere, right? We also, in our body also, we have lines and angles. And we see around us also lines and angles.
Yes.
Without lines, there is no world. That is so true, right?
Right.
So, first, we will define what is a line, okay? Before that, let me introduce what are the topics which we are covering in grade 7 portion. That is according to our ma'am mentioned, it is chapter 5, lines and angles. We are discussing about complementary angles and supplementary angles, and intersecting lines and transversal, and angles made by transversal. But before that, we should have a recap of what is a line. A line. So what is a line? A line is a one-dimensional figure which has length but no width. A line is made up of a set of points which is extended in opposite direction infinitely. That is why always we remember there is a difference between a line and a line segment, isn't it? So line is something which extends on both the sides, whereas line segment, we have endpoints, right? It stops there. So it is A and B. Whereas line goes infinitely both on the left hand side and right hand side. And as you already know that there should not be a thickness here, right? Because it's a one dimensional. If it goes with a width, then we go with a two dimensional. Okay. So this is what is line about. Now what is an angle? Now angle is the figure formed by two rays called the sides of the angle sharing a common endpoint. So here you will see there is a ray OA. There are two rays which I have taken, OA, and another ray which is OB. This OA and OB has a common point O. So when these two lines join together, we get a vertex. We call this as a vertex. So this is where an angle is formed. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Now, are you clear with what is a line? What is an angle?
Yes, I hope all the children of 7th class, they are very much cleared with the angle and lines. And how can we define separately that also you have given the definition of angle and lines also. Now can we come to the main topic, ma'am, how we are going to discuss about angles and lines?
Because exactly, we are curious to know what we are learning new, right?
Today,
what we already know, and then we'll connect to what we are going to learn. So this is complementary angle. Complement is something which we all like, right?
Yes.
So here in math also we have something called complementary angles. What do you mean by complementary angles? Okay. When the sum of the measures of two angles is 90 degree, then the angles are called complementary angles. That means if you look at this figure, you see one angle here 70 degree, other angle here it is 20. So what is sum of these two angles, which is 70 plus 20? which is
90.
90 degree, and other term for 90 degree is right angle, right? The sum should be a right angle. So you can have a different angle. Also remember, we can have adjacent angles also, where you can add up these two angles as 90 degree also. It can be an adjacent angle or it can be two separate angles. Whenever two angles are complementary, each angle is said to be complement of the other angle. So here we can say the 70 degree angle is a complement of 20 degree and 20 degree is a complement of 70 degree. Complement is something support each other, right? So 70 is supported by 20 to get 90. Similarly, 20 is supported by 70 to get 90.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's see clearly like what are complementary angle with an activity here.
Okay,
Let's
ma'am.
see complementary and supplementary.
Can you hear this?
Yes, we
What
are
is?
yes, ma'am, you are
Excellent.
audible. Right.
Yes.
Let us take an angle here and let us take a 40 degree angle. Okay, I am taking a 40 degree angle here. So this is the angle of 40 degree. Now what will be the angle complement to it? So we know that the angle should sum up to 90 degree. So when I take the next line, if I need to find a complementary pair for this, my next angle should be, if this angle is 40, what should be the next angle to it?
50.
Correct. It should add up to 90, right? So my next pair should be 50 degree here. So I have taken here 50. So let's check whether these are complementary angles. Yes, this is 40 and this is 50. So are they complementary? Yes,
ma'am.
right?
So you are clear with complementary angle, right?
Right,
So
ma'am.
once we know about complementary angle, we have one more pair which is called as supplementary angles. So what do you think will be a supplementary angle? So we are done with 90 degree, right? What is the next multiple of 90? So it is 180, right? So we are going to discuss about 180 degree angle. So two angles are called supplementary when their measure add up to 180 degree. So here you can see this angle is 50 and this angle is 130, which you also remember we call it as obtuse angle and acute angle. Okay. So when we add up these two angles, which is 130 plus 50, we are getting it as 180. So when two angles are supplementary, each angle is said to be the supplement of the other. Okay. So are you clear with supplementary angles?
Okay.
Now are you getting confused now? What are complementary? What are supplementary now?
Yes, ma'am, it is very clear. Yes.
Yeah. So we will just see one more video here to understand the difference between complementary and supplementary.
Right.
You can see here three angles, 1, 2, 3. Let's see which are the supplementary pairs. So let's see these angles. So here you see, this is the first angle. What is the angle formed here? It's 120 degree. Okay. Now let's see the second angle. This angle is 30 degree. So is it supplementary pairs with this, and you add these two angles, 120 plus 30 is 150, right? So it is not supplementary.
Right.
Let us take the third angle. So what is this angle we are getting here? So you can see it is 0, 10, 20, 30, like that. 60 degree is formed here. 60 degree angle is formed. So this angle is a supplementary pair to the first one, because the first one what we took is 120
plus 60, so it becomes
this is
180.
120 and the second one is 60, right? So when these two are supplementary angles, because where sum, when we add we get 180.
Okay. So now you are clear with supplementary and complementary. Okay. So generally I have seen children get confused what are complementary and supplementary angle. So we always have some easier way to recall, some mind mapping we can do. Remember C comes before S, correct? So 90 is the number which comes before 180. So that means complementary means the sum adds up to 90 and supplementary becomes 180. So now since we are thorough with the concept, now what next? We have to do some problems, right? And check that we are aware of this or we can recall this complementary and supplementary concepts. Okay, so here I have 3 questions. Identify which of the following pairs of angles are complementary and which are supplementary. So, but how do we identify whether they are supplementary or complementary pairs? Is we'll take the first 2 angles. So we should remember that if it is complementary, it should add up to 90, and if it is supplementary, it should add up to 180. So we have to add these 2 angles. So let us add these 2 angles, and what is the value we are getting? Are we getting 180?
Yes. So this
So
one
that
is
means this
supplementary.
is supplementary. Okay. Now let's go to the second one and see what is the sum of these 2. That is 63 plus 27
equals to 90.
Okay. 90 degree. So this is complementary. Similarly, when you add up the last 2, which is 112 and 68, when you add these 2, again you get your 180 degree, which is again supplementary. Okay. Now we know what are complementary and supplementary, and we know how to identify this. Now this is something which is very important. How to find complementary angle to 70. Now 70 degree is given. How do I find complementary angle to it? So we know that when you add the 70 degree with one angle x, which will give us 90. So x will give us 90 minus 7.
70 equals to 20.
20. This is why we learned linear equation, simple equation earlier. So we should know how to solve it. Okay. Similarly, supplementary angle to 100. The 100 plus x is 180. So we can take x as 180 minus 100, which is 80 degree. Now sometimes you have the tendency to write, instead of writing this, okay, I know the sum is 180, I will subtract it from 180. Remember, when you're subtracting from 180, it is not from 100. So it should be 180 minus 100, because we have observed that many times you do it as 100 minus 180. This will give a negative answer, right? So it is from 180 because the total is 180. So you have to subtract 100 from 180, which is 180 minus 100, and then we get the answer as 80. Okay, so we have discussed with complementary and supplementary angles. Now we will go with the concept of lines intersection. Okay.
Okay.
What are pair of lines? Pair always means there will be 2 lines. Okay. Now, can you see this? Have you seen this many times, right? Junctions are formed, lines just crisscross lines. What do you call in terms for these lines when they cross each other? We call it as intersecting lines, right? Lines and line segments are intersecting lines when they cross each other at one single point. The point where lines intersect is this point where they intersect is called as point of intersections. This you would have seen most of the junctions. We can compare with the road junctions where the traffic cop stands there. That is called our intersecting point.
Even railway track also we can
Yes,
find
they
them.
also crisscross each other.
Crisscrossing.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. And children, you can find a lot of examples like this. So many examples, you can think about it. Okay. Now, the term which we need to be familiar with right now is transversal. What is a transversal? A line that intersects 2 or more lines at a distinct point is called transversal. So you can see there are 2 lines here, L and M. This is intersected by another line. So this line is intersecting here, which I call it as O, and here another point, let us call it as P. This line N is called as a transversal. So I have drawn a transversal. Can I have more than one transversal? I can draw, right? I can
Yes.
draw here, I can draw here, I can draw here. The definition says just it's a line which cuts more than one line, right? So it has two lines which has been cut by this line.
Yes.
Now, what are the angles made by a transversal? So when this transversal cuts the two lines, there are few angles formed. So I will share a video for this to understand the concept of angles formed by transversal.
So here you can see that I have drawn two lines, which is L and M, which is cut by a transversal N. Now when this L is cut by this transversal N, we get four angles here, which is angle 1, angle 2, angle 3 and angle 4. Similarly, when this transversal cuts this M, we are getting four angles, angle 4, angle 6, angle 7, angle 8. Now let's see what are corresponding angles. So corresponding angles, let's discuss about the angles which is formed above the line. So here you can see this is angle 1. This is above the line, angle made by L and the transversal N. Now we will see what is the angle made by the line M and the transversal N. So this is angle 5. So this angle 1 and angle 5 is a one pair of corresponding angle. The next one is between angle 2 and angle 6. So angle 2 from here, and then we have it, the next one is angle 6. So angle 2 and angle 6 is the next pair of corresponding angles. So this we discussed above the line, then we will discuss below the line also. Now we will see that angle 4, that is below the line L, this is angle 4. This is, so corresponding to angle 4, which is the angle we should take? We should take angle 8. These are corresponding angles. Now we have one more pair of corresponding angles. So we will take that next, which is angle 3. Now which is the angle corresponding to this angle 3? Then pair for this angle 3 should be the angle 7. Correct? So we will take angle 7 here. So these are the four pairs of corresponding angle. Now we are clear with corresponding angle. Now let us discuss about what are interior alternate angles. So interior itself shows that it is between these two lines and angles are formed inside. Now here is angle 4 and angle 6. That is, if I say angle 4 is it inside, the next angle corresponding to this is angle 6. So this angle 4 and angle 6, they are called as interior alternate angle. So you can see that there is one more pair immediately, right? The next to it. What about it? So let us take that also. That is angle 3. What is the corresponding interior alternate angle to it? Yeah, it has to come alternate to it and it has to be interior. The term itself says that it is an alternate angle and it is interior. So this is angle 3 and angle 5. These are interior alternate angles. Now what do we have next? We are done with interior. So between these lines angles are done. Now we have exterior alternate angle. The term itself shows that it is outside the lines. So we have here angle 1. So I am taking it as angle 1. This is an exterior alternate. What is an angle corresponding to it? Yes, this is angle 7. So we will take it angle 7. So angle 7 and angle 1, they are exterior alternate angles. Now we have one more angle with us, that is angle 2, right? So I'll keep it angle 2 here. What is the angle corresponding to this angle 2, which is alternate pair for it? Exterior one? Yes, from angle 2 we have angle 8. So I'm taking angle 8 here. So this is exterior alternate angles. So we have discussed about corresponding angles, then interior alternate angles and exterior alternate angles.
Okay, so you would have seen now what we discussed. It's about corresponding angles, interior alternate angles and exterior alternate angles. So quickly we'll have a recap from this figure that angle 1 and angle 5 are one pair of corresponding angle. Angle 4 and angle 8 is another pair of corresponding angle. Angle 2 and angle 6 is the third pair, and angle 3 and angle 7 is the fourth pair. A alternate exterior angle, you can see that angle 2 and angle 8, similarly angle 7 and angle 1. Alternate interior is angle 3 and angle 5, angle 6 and angle 4. These are the main angles, terms you should be familiar with. Now also you should be familiar with something called co-interior, or another term we call it as allied angles. What are co-interior? Interior means it is inside. So which comes under the same line, like angle 4 and angle 5, they are co-interior angle, and angle 3 and angle 6, they are another pair of co-interior angles. So the next term which you are already familiar are adjacent angle. What do you mean by adjacent angle? Adjacent angle should have a common ray, right? So here angle 1 and angle 4. So you can write many pairs in the same part, like angle 1, angle 4, angle 2 and angle 1, angle 2 and angle 3, right? Angle 3 and angle 4. So around this point itself, we can write 4 pairs of adjacent angles. Similarly, around this point also, we can write 4 pairs of adjacent angles. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Radhika ma'am, we have learned a lot about lines and angles and adjacent angles also, and with your video recording also you have showed very beautifully, and I hope the students would have understood the today's angles and line chapter which we have discussed right now. But last, because we are running out of the time, so can we tell one question, ki what kind of mistakes usually students do at the time of angles and lines?
Okay, so first of all, from complementary and supplementary angle is the difference. They get confused with which is 180 and which is 90 degree.
90 degree,
so
right.
that is why I gave a trick, because you are learning a lot of things, right? Because
Yes.
lot of terms in all the subjects. So that is why I said C and S concept you just connect. C
Yes.
stands for 90, and because it comes first, and S comes later, so 180 comes later. That is one easier way to recall for complementary and supplementary. The another thing which they should be familiar with, the corresponding, the
Right.
terms. See, now if I see this, if I ask them to name the pairs, now they get confused. Is this corresponding or is it alternate interior? So that is why I clearly mentioned interior means it has to be inside.
Inside,
itself.
right.
Exactly. So the corresponding means one above means everything is one above. So they have to get familiar with the terms like corresponding, alternate interior, because this is what we are going to lead with the next concept of parallel lines. And this concept of parallel line, we have to apply it in all the classes from now onwards. So this is going to be very, very important for them.
Very good. Very nicely you have explained each and everything about lines and angles, Radhika ma'am. And I hope the student of 7th class of mathematics, they would have understood today very nicely also. Radhika ma'am, I would say to you, it is very useful for everyone and every child, and yeah, the method of teaching children is a very nice, which you usually, whenever I come to you, you usually teach in a very beautiful way. So thank you, Radhika ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us, and I hope see you soon again in next topic with the 7th class also. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And dear viewers and learners, now it's time for me also to say goodbye to all of you. But before I wrap up this session, I want to say that next session is going to become very interesting, because the topic is, this is Geordie's Fawn. So you're going to learn about English chapter for 8th class. So stay with us with all our sessions. Till then, namaskar.